Satati Sepo, Waragasa.
Well, there's also jersey 13 that looks like he wants to hit it. Dumelingam Tembo! It's a golazo of a free kick. It's brilliant. Jomo Cosmos's central man, and now the ball over the top is a delightful one, and the touch is sublime. It's the opener for Jomo Cosmos.
Romela Kopele, Juliente, Arabon, Kitapilema, Tapiluama, Kitapilema.
Hola, bienvenido de Nova Football on 216. Good evening and welcome back to Football on 216. Thought I'd start this episode with a Spanish introduction, and that should give you some insights into what to expect on the show. We unpack the Under-14 Parktown tournament that took place on Saturday, as well as the Under-13 GDL Festival. That's the sort of age demographic that we focused on, 13 to 14. And then, boy, oh boy, we flew in Salvador Carmona from Madrid in Spain to give us insights as to what the Spanish teams look for in development football and how our youngsters can establish that sort of transgression from South Africa to maybe La Masia. Let me introduce you to my panel once again this evening. We've got Sfiso Gutem Simango Esiswini, and then Koli Kakuring, Lebza, and Ora.
Welcome my language. You call Spanish, man. You Botswana, man.
I'll blind.
But to Salvador is total Spanish. Sfiso Spanish. Hola, ye bienvenido, ye de Nova Football on 216. Guys, yeah, so you guys are going to go learn Spanish also.
Yeah.
Sfiso?
Hola.
Hola. That's how you say hi in Spanish. Hola.
It's simple. Hola, you are on video.
See, that's what I'm saying, guys.
Yeah, it's a pattern.
Hola, ye bienvenido.
How are you?
No, hello and welcome.
And welcome.
Magumnandi, Okay, guys, let's get right into it. And the 14 Parktown Festival took place this weekend on Saturday. In fact, it started on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday outside Parktown. Boys brought some of the best school under 14 boys. Now, it gives me a bit of a painful heart, this tournament. I remember back when I was at JP, I wasn't good enough to make the team, so it was good to be there and to see the guys' good action on Saturday. I want to show you the reaction from the head coach of the Parktown team as well as forwards who got knocked out. Let's hear what they thought about the festival.
This is Shomben Banget, one of the coaches of the Under-14A. I'd just like to reflect on the tournament that we are hosting here at Parktown Boys. The tournament so far, we've gone through to the quarterfinals. Feel happy for my boys. They've shown a lot of grit, a lot of integrity, and a lot of fight. And that's what the Lion does. So with regards to that, the tournament has been going well. There's a lot of goals. There's a lot of talented players that need recognition. So the show is yours, gents. Tomorrow, there's still semi-finals, quarters, finals. We need to see you out there.
Hi, I'm Coach Linda from Forwards High. I was here at the Parktown tournament. It was a great experience for the school, for the boys. There was an unfortunate learning curve for us. Unfortunately, we got knocked out in the group stages. But next year, we rebuild, we regroup. I'm sure the boys enjoyed themselves. It was a great experience. The hosting was nice. The games we watched were quality. Some of the teams here played really well. And I think it's a great experience for football school that they're doing. Lovely work to see in the future, and it goes from here.
So that was the Parktown coach as well as the forwards coach, a bit of a juxtapositioning thing. I like that thing, Fiso, of top and bottom. Parktown were through to the quarterfinals after day 2. Forwards, unfortunately, going home. Parktown, though, did lose in the quarterfinals to Cares at their home ground. But Lebza, what's your feel, man, about the school football space?
Before get to urata go gogola thando ra can come nandi. Ubuile to le gore ha mnandi. So ra tshwana nne.
Ubuile sa igudlo wa bua.
No, gora gore a itsoge le mo wena. No man ntsala ke wa bona kgwele ya go dikolong tsala ke le one ya gola. O gona go bona ha o lebeletse wena thando gore gona le jalo scale. Gona go bona school football o ha o ka re le kanya le GDL. Wa bona gore gona le mo le gore ya go tsameka sentle. Mara yone se salang ke gore ke kgolo ke bone le bo GP gangster ba e support-a batho ba bantsi ba itse ba tla ka jalo ha ntse o bona batho ba tswa ko magaeng ba tla go lebelela kgwele tshwana le yo ntse lake go gona tshepo ya gore kgwele ya dinao ya gola ka jalo go lebelela kgwele ya dinao ya ko dikolong tsa lake le yone e tlisa jalo value mo footballong ya rona ya Gauteng Development
You
League
saw the kids technically banjani abantwana.
Ya mama ubheka wena Thando laphana bafethu lezi zinto lezi uyabona zimnandi and enye into yabona njengama team afana no UP mayizodlala ngentwana edlala ku GDL kuyabonakala lapho mehluko but mina Thando yazi mina ngomuntu wasekasi ne so into engijwayele ukisho nabantu basekasi aba invest elokho ebholeni lesikole because uyabona nje iParktown lebe sibuka ukuthi inswempu kanjani boyabona bahire abantu abavele bangocoach lapha ekasi kuyithathela uBramandla ushaya ingadi kuthiwa akazo coach so we mina invest nakhona uyabona lento le abantu bayibonile ukuthi inswempu kanjani bayemuza nomuntu ekhuluma ukuthi lo ucoach.
Orapele, we chatted about something during comms, you and I then over the weekend via when you play school sports, you have your maths teacher coaching you. How does that go?
You're a tendery Thando for go school football okra teacher a ruta science o tlo tsa tlo nna teacher ya bolo ga tswa fo o ile o maka dibuka ga sa tlhala lebella di tactics gore ke ntse nga improve team ka sone ke that's why go GDL go berekwa ka makalo a go katisa ga o tsene fela go GDL o bo re ke nna coach ke tlo etsa so that thing le yona e etsa a difference e tona thata ka gore teacher o lebella bolo mo TV ga tsena o batla go ira sa se boneng go TV ga ana ikatiso ya gore ke nne mo katisi a kgone go handle yang batshamiki a dirise di tactics ya.
Yeah, so that was the Under-14 Parktown Festival. So Parktown, the hosts, and like I said, knocked out on penalties. Very heartbreaking that against King Edward VII School. Kes then went on to play against Tux in the semi-final. They lost to Tux in the semi. Tux went on to play against JP High School for Boys, actually, my very own alma mater, in the final. JP High School for Boys losing by 2 goals down against Tux. But then that's where you see it, guys, then, right? Tux have some players that play in the GDL. They come through and they win that competition.
o gona go bona ya ka buile o rapeleng tsala ke gore experience ya bonala la le gore Sfiso bile ne ba le monate ba Parktown gona ba bona fela experience na go tsedu ka se gone go e reka ntsala ke mo ka jalo taxi bontshitse gore rona go ile re tshameka beke le beke go sekolong ba tshameka leng le leng ga ba tshameki ka mogo go tshamekang ka teng ka mo GDL akere ka jalo o gone go bona ha taxi tshameka gore ba itse kgwela dina.
It kills me, the Parktown, well, not the Parktown kids, the Tax kids. Big timing on it, it's happy hour, and I'm like, but where's the happy hour in GDL? You guys are doing this only here.
Yeah, ilento sibona esikhuluma ngayo ngequality because mawubheka iPtax ayenzi kahle ku GDL kakhulu but esikoleni uyabona inswempu kanjani akusho khona experience bayithatha ngapha mabe ngapha bayacotela ngapha baligibela wenza noma yini khona ozochazeka.
So before we sort of wrap up with the Under-14 Parktown Festival, I want to create that link then between school football and Gauteng Development Football. And there's no guy that exemplifies that like Khupulang Taonyana. I got a chat with him while I was there at the Parktown tournament. So what actually made me proud is that he's involved in both in school football and GDL football. He's actually the first team captain at Parktown Boys. Motivates some of the youngsters. I saw him getting some team talks through. Here are his thoughts about the interplay of schools and club. Hello guys and welcome back. Football on 216 out here at Under-14 Parktown Festival. Now I saw a guy in a Chiefs shirt and I wasn't sure. And then I got a closer look and then I realized it was the GP gangster. Khupulang Taonyana, I mean, how are you? I'm so happy to see you here. You're a boy here at Parktown.
Yeah, I go to Parktown Boys. I'm in grade 12 currently. Yeah, this is my school.
This is your school. Hey,
yeah,
bro,
welcome to my school.
vernacular commentator loves you so much. Nebu Mahume, cheese, he loves you, man. Tell me then, I see you also involved in the school. I see you motivating the boys. What's your role actually? Still play school football?
Yeah, obviously, you know, I think, I love the school. I think this is a great school. I came to a very good school. Yeah. So obviously I'm the captain, the first team captain here at Parktown. So obviously I'm always involved with the guys that are coming in because of these guys are the future of Parktown. So I always want to motivate and talk to them and make sure that they step up to what we as the first team have put as a benchmark so that they meet that requirement that we.
So tell me something then. You play at Chiefs under 19, right?
Yes.
So you've seen some of the best under 13s in the country. Nganati Saliwa, there's Hlelele Tsaka. Tell me something then. How is the comparison between academy football and school football?
I think obviously there is a big margin, obviously, because of all these boys come from different backgrounds, come from different schools and different clubs. So obviously there is basically a huge gap. But I think as time goes, with more players playing at club level, the gap is becoming smaller and smaller.
Yeah. So what's happening with Kuplang? I mean, when are you playing Disc Challenge, bro? Were you really a referee?
Yes, I was a
You're
referee
really a
at
referee?
Engine. Yeah, I was in 2022.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was a referee, and I enjoyed my time as a ref. And I talked to most of these referees that I know most of them. So yeah, it's a funny story, but I think it was part of my journey to be a ref, to understand the game deeper and know the game. And yeah,
Yo, man, let's close it. Say Mom Nandum Nandi.
Mom Nandi.
So that's the GP gangster. Lebza loves him so much. We hope we'll see him more. And then he says he wants to motivate more of the schoolboys to join the club setup. But speaking of club, under 13 Gauteng Development League Festival took place at Clapham High School this weekend. 5 games. And guys, I don't know, we usually see very exciting under 13 games. They were weird yesterday.
No, I know. How work out weird. Ke dumelana le wena. Metshameko no se monate mara ne gona le dintle. Gore ke na se ne se mmaka gore metshameko a teng manne se metshameko e re tlaetseng gore o kila bona ditlhapa di tshwana le bo Sundown ba tlatsa ba ile ba ireng panorama ne ba sokodisa ba kgonne go kora gone mara dintlha re di bone re bone di 4x4 re bone di chesampama so dintlha ne di le teng gone maabane mo festivaleng.
Mara bona bana ntsala ke la ile gore bua ya le wena nkgonne ha gona le dino di le teng ana ka itumela mara so tsi buang ka se utlwa man wena o rapeleng tsala ke dula ke utlwe gore man ha go ka mogore twaetseng ka under 13 a ke re itse ke bona ba bulang di khora re simolla ke under 13 ra itse go pele go tla ba bang under 13 ke yone setang standard gore itse ke banna remo fela ba bona ka go ne le bone fela I think it was way too much tactical man ne ba re tshamekeng so go se ne ba ta go latlhela mare dino ne di le teng tsala
mina ngijabulisa ijomo bafethu iyashisa hey ijomo
Ijomo iyashisa.
mina banga ishisa kanje vele noma ngathi nama player amasha because into engibonile enye team enjenge Vets Juniors ihlala inama player amasha sibonile ama player adidla lapha naswa zonke ibishisa kanje ijomo noma mhlawumbe ama player amasha
the Kapolo brothers maabane na ba itse festival go sosele ka mo Jomo Cosmos mo gaming ele ya Rosina na ba itirela fela ke makawana a mantle ene wa bona ba the Kapolo brothers ke tshepe ba tlo nna se ba ka go Jomo the winner ba tshameka ka teng
Bamnandi.
yeah.
And then SuperSport United put 5 guys past the Vets Juniors.
ntsala ke fa level ka mo super sport ke di star player ka mo le ba feta re bueng nnete banna ba teng ka mo le botumelo Denzel mo erane banna ba teng tsala ke bompho pizza ba teng bothabanqena ka jalo ne ba bontsha ya le kgatelelo bona thande gore ba itse se ba se dira fela le ka mo Vets ke utlwe se fisa bua ka Yamgelane Khumalo jersey number 10 le yena ha ke bone re go dulana go itelle ka kwantsala ke ka gone o monate o gona go mmona ka mogadi ntsa ka fela nong ha le mogare ga mpale ba le monosi bona thando gona le bo Denzel gona le bo Mphopitsa gona le bo Rosanta Ukubo nga ke bone re tla khona.
How good has Dikgwamaje become?
suka manje
no
siyasuka manje
a go tlhaloso
siyasuka
o bitsa yalo
manje yabona le outlet yani take off yayo le yantwana and sesencane I take off manje yasuka manje and ihambisana nesibongo sakhe Dikgwamaje siyasuka manje nickname yayo le yantwana le into bilokhu yenza ngibuza uIduke lapha nokuthi unosiyasuka manje no inganathi saliwa same position phela ungakhohlwa badlale wing abo yi2 uqala ngobani ucoach we national team
yeah khotla
In the tusaliwa wasaliwa. Okay guys, let's move on.
and then ga re
Can you
lebella
see-
go Sundown so gape ke bone Hlumile Chaka bone leira yana malo Hlumile Chaka a le ka bona le maabane le tshamekile I mean go nna aware fa gore ga le fopela le box la 18 no ya gagwe ne le ntle thata ka gore o itsitse gore o eme fokae ke sa tshwantsa se dire beautiful goal ka Hlumile Chaka.
And that's what is that Sundowns game they played against Panorama that beat them the last time. Take it back slightly, guys. Chiefs and Risa.
ngizoyilahlela kulebza kuqala ngilande
le khosi ntsala ke la taboga ka yone le ga under 13 ba tsamaya ntsala ke ba gapile 3-0 ke be ka bua le coach Lungano bela ka mora ke re ba tsamaya a ba khona go ba thiba na ra as long as ke gapa ntsala ke le bonentse ba gapa re tla bona go pele ka jalo Chiefs ya ka gapile 3-0 ntsala ke ingana tisa le bo nositse tsa go bua ka yena a star player
mina into engifuna ukuyibuza singathi Chiefs i skeleton team or kanjani because I mean siyazi ukuthi starting 11 sayo sikanjeni so le ntwana amazihamba kuzoyenzakalana because siyazi usaliwe phakathi siyazi okay into engichazile baqale ngoMason bathatha uhlelele bambeka ngaphandle but mawucheka lapha na remember le sports academy mayiqala lo yamdlalo yana mina bengijethi mhlawumbe kuzoba i-draw nani zona ziyapheka man ziyapheka kodwa kuyasho ukuthi esikhathini esiningi ama team njengabo Chiefs bane stamina kakhulu so ama team njengabo Resa baqale bedlala igame mayisaqala then makuye hayi kuye
Bafethu, I want to talk goal of the week first. TS Galaxy, they had a new boy yesterday in our game order that we covered. Itumeleng Mthembu, he comes on, stroke of 20 minutes, free kick.
Ah, that was a beautiful goal when Tandem Chiako. What itse re bile gape se seng khatleng ke bone le ene re bone Matthew George gape a le ko under 13 a thusa ko bankeng ya. O tlhalositse seng gore e tla re season e tlang ga e tla e be sa tlhele re mmona ko bankeng tsa TS Galaxy. Go na le sengwe se se tsagalang ka Matthew George. Tla mmona apere sa apare se sentle. My reliable sources. Why?
Journalist.
Uthini Kelvin uyawathanda ama-journalist wayiyo ukhuluma ngethanda.
Into sibonile masise ku-TS Galaxy umshini asethokoza bamqalise ngaphandle usibeka umfikiselete
Dokafetwa go mkhosha ku stand kwa mali uphithizile.
Bamqalisa ngaphandle. But le ayikhulumayo uMatthew George uchazile ukuthi ngoba no coach osesemusha so uyahlala ebenchini ukuthi amncedise siyazi sekumanda 15 but ube involved kakhulu but yena Mr. The Fix lapha khona you win.
Lapha khona you win. Yeah, Bafethu, that was the under 13 and under 14 age groups, both at the Parktown and in the Gauteng Development League. But boy, oh boy, uthini uSifiso uthi sigibele indiza pupu. We fly up next and we go to Sevilla. Stay tuned with myself and Coscarinho. Hello guys and welcome to Football on 216 again. Today we're out at the under 14 Parktown tournament. I just got the Parktown game in time, exciting. I saw you dog. Hey, you're so good, you're Mnandi man. What's your name? Where you from, man?
My name is Jared Yanis. I'm from Valtervreden Park.
Oh, okay. Do you play football at club level or you just play here at school?
No, I play club.
Where do you play your club, man?
Panorama FC.
Oh, you play at Panorama?
Yeah.
You play GDL?
Yeah, I play GDL.
You play GDL, so how are you able to play school and GDL, man?
No, Panorama is not that strict when it comes to playing school football.
Yeah.
Like an academy where they'll restrict you from playing. So I try and balance it.
Oh, I can see you from Panorama. Yeah, this kid was unfair to them out there. So, what age group do you play at Panorama, man?
I play under 14 area.
Oh, you play under 14.
Yes.
So you're not playing at 13 under 14 instead?
Yes, under
Okay,
14.
I mean, we'll see you soon then or in the GDL. Maybe we'll have you in studio on sometime. But I could see, man, that no, this guy, what do you have to say, man, about school's football? Difference between academy and school?
I'll say not that it's not as tough, but at club you have more competitors. You have boys playing the same position as you who are just as hungry as you to play. Whereas in school football, you know you have the advantage of playing at club at a higher level.
Yeah.
I mean, you just come here and showcase your talent.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, let's end it. Say, Mom Nandum Nandi.
Mawumnandi.
Mom Nandum Nandi, clean in Panagiti. Satati Sepo, Waragasha. Satati Sepo, Waragasha. Coach's Corner on Football on 216. Now remember in episode 1 when I told you guys that Coscarinho was from Rio de Janeiro and you didn't believe me? Well, the answer, you have it on this episode right here. He's flown through his mates from Spain and Madrid, Salvador, Carmona, and we're chatting everything, performance matrix analysis, what teams in the European side of things are looking for in development football, and our players can potentially start playing that side. So it's a special Coach's Corner this, and yes, Cosca is from Rio de Janeiro. Good evening, Coach.
Evening, my brother. Evening, Salva.
Good to have you. Good to be here, guys.
Yeah, no, happy to have you here, Salvador. How was the flight from Madrid then, man?
It was good. It was a long one, but it was good. Uneventful.
Okay, no, our real purpose here, Salva, is development football. So we're going to chat everything development football, everything performance matrix analysis. He loves that stuff so much, Cosca. So perhaps we could start maybe with a background of yourself, Salvador. Who is Salvador Carmona and what exactly do you do in the football space?
Right. So yeah, I come from Spain. I live in Madrid. I have a company with a couple of partners. Where we run, it was a startup at the beginning, and now it's a technological data company that we use. We help clubs use data in a better way, mostly for player scouting, player recruitment, but also for game analysis. We work with over 50 clubs worldwide, and we try to basically help them use data in a way that they can optimize their business, whether it's to find players that otherwise they wouldn't be able to find, or just to make less mistakes, really. So optimizing the whole football side of the thing. We only do football, like the football side. We don't do the business side, ticket sales, merchandising. We only do like on the pitch things.
So Salva, man, welcome to the show and welcome to South Africa, my man.
Thank you.
I believe we had a chat just now to say that how was the country, how was everyone treating you? Are we friendly?
Yeah, it's for sure a friendly country. I think it's I think all the Spaniards have a sweet spot for South Africa because of everything that happened in football here. Like, we won the World Cup in this country. And
Good. Yeah.
so it's always like, and they're like, oh, you came from Spain. The World Cup.
Nice.
Like, so yeah, people are like, happy to have you.
No, that's good. But for the viewers, we didn't hand any World Cup to Spain, please.
We actually never, I think we never, during the World Cup, we didn't play each other.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah. I remember. I even remember that they lost 1-0 the first game versus Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember the headline, like the first, no one has ever won the World Cup losing the first game.
Yeah.
So people like really got freaked out, but ended up in a good way.
But in any case, Salva, man, just to get to the thick of things, how did your career start? Like, where did you start?
So I was born in Spain, but I lived my college career in the United States, and I started working. I was working for ESPN at the time, ESPN Deportes, the Spanish-speaking side at the beginning as an intern and then part-time. And it's kind of a long story, but basically I ended up working. At the time, there was no data in football.
Yeah.
You had goals and maybe minutes. But it was a time, this is 2012 when I'm finishing my degree. You really didn't have any data points. It was just like I said, goals and minutes and games played, and that's kind of it. But I like sports in general, not only in the football. And I got an opportunity to work for the NBA league office.
Yeah.
So I worked for the NBA doing the basketball analysis. Basketball is totally different because they've been recording statistics for decades. So I did a project on player salaries because salaries in the NBA are public, whereas they're not in football.
Yeah.
And then after I finished there, I decided to get a master's degree. And then I started a blog. And I started a blog, to be honest, thinking like I was going to write about player movement or whatever. And like, I don't know, some club was going to call me and make me a scout. But that didn't happen. Some agents called me like, hey, how much do you charge per report? So eventually, like, I got super busy and I couldn't really keep up with, like, my day lasts 24 hours just like for any other person.
You needed more hours.
So I needed, so the only thing I could do was to start a company and like hire more people and like, try to scale up the business. And that's what I did. And now Driblab's 8 years old.
Nice.
Over 7 years old. Yeah. And we work with clubs worldwide. We work with clubs in Africa. We work with clubs in everywhere, really. And we have like some marquee names, like Atletico Madrid, FC Barcelona.
Mention a few. Mention it because I believe one of your prodigies or one of your players whom you have scouted is now playing for my team.
Which is your team?
Spurs, my man.
Spurs. Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. I know you're talking about Richarlison.
Yes.
That came on the media. I mean, of course, we help a lot of clubs do a lot of transfers and get loans or get free players, and sometimes they're not free, like the Richarlison case. We never say it who they are because it's confidential. And football is like the clubs have this paranoia of like who knows what, and it makes sense that they have this thing because there's a lot of money involved. But in this case, it got on the media. There's a few cases that we've done that they've leaked on the media or it's been famous through the media. Like that's one. Giovanni Lo Celso to Betis 5 years ago when he was PSG and then later on went to the Spurs. That was in the media as well, that we helped with that one. But we've done over 500 transfers. And by done, we mean like consulted or helped with the data part. I mean, at the end of the day, we can tell a club, hey, you should do this. The club can do whatever they want because we're not the club owner, we're just the consultants to them.
What's the biggest transfer you've done?
In terms of money?
In terms of name and money.
I would say Gio Lo Celso would be one. Because he was a PSG, went to Betis, and so that deal was a 3 million voluntary loan. Then Gio also goes to Betis and he does an amazing season. So they execute the voluntary loan was 22, so it was 25 whole package. But he was already sold to Spurs, so for 48. So Betis in 13 months made 23 million euro profit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. Richarlison is a big one because at the end of the day, Richarlison, when he was at Fluminense, he was a good prospect, but like now he starts for Brazil. How many players start from?
No, he's top, my man.
Yeah, how many players?
So there's not that many like that you can say. But the reality is like one time I asked Betis, like the board, I asked them, what have we helped you the most? And I was 100% sure they were going to say with Lo Celso, like really brought money. But they didn't say that. They said it was this right back that they were going to sign, that the coach wanted, but the data said no. So it was more like how many players you do not sign thanks to what we do, more so than the ones that you do sign. Because the reality is how many transfers do you do per window? 5, 6, 3, perhaps 8. But like how many you don't do? There are hundreds because they offer you hundreds of players.
So true.
So I didn't think about it that way when I asked them.
And it's another perspective. But just to bring it back home, I mean, South Africa is rich with talent. And I tell you firsthand because I work with this talent every day of my life. So I just want to understand, and maybe the viewer at home can also understand as to what criteria is followed in terms of a player getting scouted in South Africa and moving abroad. Like in your instance, let's say for instance, you have an opportunity to scout a player in South Africa. What would you look for?
Well, it depends on so there are two things. Well, the main factor is minutes-age. If you're playing a lot of minutes and you're 16, you're probably good. Whether it's South Africa or Portugal, like you're probably good. And if you're playing not that many minutes and you're 35, you're probably not that good. So that's like a main thing. I think for South Africa or for any like African country, it's expected to like the player to be physically gifted. But the most important thing is what do clubs want per position. So what Barcelona wants on a central defender might not be what Atletico Madrid wants on a central defender.
For sure.
I think there is a gap in terms of like South Africa has not been in the international World Cups over the past few years. It's not a secret. And that's also a great stage for like players to do. Maybe you are not that good, but you go to the World Cup, score a couple goals, and you know what I mean? And that happens, right? So South Africa not being there, that doesn't really help. It is a country that I think it's enticing for European clubs because the culture here is more European-esque than other African countries, just because of its past. So I think the culture is quite similar in certain ways, and I think that helps like clubs invest here.
I see.
But I also think that another problem that the country has for scout players is that the professional teams pay good enough money. You know, like you go to Cameroon and the players are cheaper, and that helps more the European club make the investment.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few things, but you're right. The talent is great. Like Benny McCarthy played in Spain.
Yeah.
There's been others. I believe Quentin Fortune played.
Yeah, he did for Deportivo.
For Celta de Vigo.
Celta, sorry.
Yeah. So I think what European clubs look for in a player in South Africa, it's basically that they're good at a young age. They're unlikely going to sign like a 28-year-old. But yeah, I think also you have 3 big clubs here that play in the African Champions League with the players young enough. All these clubs in, particularly Belgium, this region of Europe, that they really invest in Africa.
Yeah.
Netherlands. I think
Chandre went to Club Brugge. Yeah, so it's a good example.
Yeah. Lyle Foster went to Cercle Bruges. So yeah.
Yeah. No, man, Driblab. Do you have your services around the country or are you still benchmarking?
So we don't work with any club in South Africa yet.
Okay.
Hopefully that changes soon. We work with clubs in Africa. We work with Simba in Tanzania.
Okay.
We work with in clubs in Egypt. We have 7 different products. One of the products is really good for the academies, and if I was trying to develop talent at the grassroots level, I would definitely invest in it because it's not that expensive, really. Which is a product called Capture, in which the club films the games.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be super high quality. Like an iPhone 10 quality is good enough. It doesn't need to be like, like professional recording. They give it to us, and a few hours later, you get the whole video chopped up. If you want to see all your interceptions, all his shots, all you can just click, and you have it. Plus, you have all the big data part on it. Like you can see his graphics, my graphics, whatever. And it's good for player development. You can tell the player with video, like, this is what you're doing right. If you're a coach, so video is the way of communicating between a coach and a player. Like, this is what you're doing right, this is what you're doing wrong. So we do that for the clubs. We do that for Simba in Tanzania. Plus, the club can also make videos with our own with the videos that we created of like highlights, so it can help the club sell the player better to a different club, to agents, to renew the contract with the local agent.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good product, and I think there's a lot of room to grow. I think South Africa is a very well developed country in football. Like, you just look at the stadiums, like
Proper.
yeah, much better than stadiums that we have in Spain.
Is it?
Yeah, like Rayo Vallecano
We have
Stadium.
something to post about
Yeah,
now.
we have something. Yeah. But it is true. We have stadiums in Spain. Like the Celta de Vigo Stadium is not that good.
Yeah. Okay.
I went to the Cape Town Stadium because the Springboks played there.
Oh, okay.
That stadium, if it was in Spain, would be one of the top 5 stadiums in.
Springboks are the best in the world.
Yes, I wasn't. They made it very clear there.
Yeah. Statement of intent.
They were like, "You're not from New Zealand, right?" I'm like, "I know."
That's the same.
Maybe you can tell us then, when you speak about that, it's position specific in terms of what is wanted in Europe. But what about that network, man? Because the kids are good. The kids are definitely good. But what about creating now that channel of, okay, now go to Atletico Madrid, go to Villarreal. How does that happen?
Well, you're saying that you need to create this channel. South Africans, particularly in Spain, have a reality that it's not easy, which is the passport. Because they count in Spain, you can have 3 non-European players play, right? Now, South Americans, particularly the Spanish-speaking South Americans, when they come to Spain, easily they can become Spanish, or they'll all have a grandmother from Italy or whatever, and they get the Italian passport, and therefore they don't count as foreign anymore. Whereas South Africans usually don't have that. So the player needs to be good enough for like the club to invest 1 of the 3 spots on the player. But you need to create this channel for sure. Or these opportunities come. It's hard because so the first 2 divisions in Spain, you have these 3 foreign spots, but below that you don't. So like if your kid's good and he's willing to come to Spanish 3rd division, which is already very competitive, like the players are actually very, very good, and then develop, and then now you get to Spain, now you have a contract in Spain, now you have your paperwork in Spain, time starts counting in terms of you to become a resident, and that's a route that people can take. I think it's a matter of like having one success case.
I see.
I think that's what South Africa is missing, at least in the eyes of a Spanish club. Like, if you bring this guy that's 18 years old, and like he goes and does well, and doing well doesn't mean you need to be Messi.
Yeah.
You just need to play and play good.
Contribute effectively.
People will look more, and that's why Spain is full of Argentinians, Uruguayans, Brazilians, because there's many examples of. Same thing happens with Eastern Europe. Like in Spanish clubs, really like the Croats, the Serbians, because there's been many success cases, and that's really it. Because in terms of financially, like the players are enticing; they're not that expensive. Like you go to Uruguay and they're way more expensive.
So true.
So I think they just need a couple of success cases, and that's really
no, for sure. They're coming soon. There is. I also run an entity. It's kind of like on its startup, which is Visionary Football Solutions. I do these matrices. So as we were talking of set, the challenge that I have for now is because Driblab is automating its services, right?
Right.
I do it with first-hand notation, like we've discussed. And by the way, for the viewer at home, first-hand notation is whereby an analyst sits and analyzes the game proper and then cuts clips and then do all the performance matrices that needs to be done in order for the player to see exactly what they do in the field. Because giving feedback to a player, you can't, as a coach, you now have video tools that helps with that. And in terms of visualizing or visualizations, it's also easier to actually visualize. Maybe, let's say, for instance, a player moves in a certain direction, whereas he's supposed to be moving in a certain direction, you understand?
Yeah.
So with Driblab, and I believe it it's making it easier for academies throughout the whole world, like you said, right? So I just want to understand, like how do you do it? What type of team do you have in Driblab to actually automate this thing?
So we have a team Driblab is about 25 people, and the tech team is about half of it. And what we do is we work with any data source, public or private, in order to get more data from the players, such as both technical wise, dribbles, shots, whatever. Also biometrical data such as height. You can scrap that a lot from the public eye, like height, like player height.
Yeah.
You can also obtain data from, like I said, private or sources, and then we create our own data. We create our own data using optical tracking.
Okay.
So like we just plug in a video of any given game, and our technology identifies every single player, finds every single number on the jersey.
And you were showing me on the phone. That's next level stuff, Thando.
Yeah.
I've never seen that done within the South African football.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, maybe something is in the pipeline, but that's next level.
You are the pipeline.
No, for sure. We coming, but say it has to start in GDL, so that they can see it. Yeah, no, that's top level.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
So, man, tell me, so with the kid watching at home, because this show is more about development, and we deal with kids that are 12 to 19-year-old. So what can you advise them in terms of maybe because I believe that more of them are aspirational to get to overseas, and specifically in the La Liga.
In La Liga, yeah. I know the Super Sport that airs La Liga, and there's like this channel, like, I saw it when I was in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what they want to do. So for example, like at Driblab has, and I'm assuming more companies like ours have the same set of profiles. One profile is like the engineer that like creates models or creates technology that helps, like the tracking technology I showed you. That's done by engineers. Use data, create graphics, etc. Another 1/3 of it are the ones that work as analysts. So if one of the Driblab services is the consultancy service. Consultancy service can be divided by two: the technological side, that hey, I want this developed and I want this, blah, blah, or hey, my team is small, so we work with like a small club in Austria, for example, Hartberg, in the Bundesliga 1, but it's a small club.
Okay.
So they use our analyst team to like, hey, can you find me a replacement for this guy? This guy got injured, can you help me? Or whatever it is. Or it's even crazy things like, I would like to sign Lewandowski, but I can't.
Yeah.
I don't have the financials, so tell me who is the Lewandowski of like Paraguay, you know? And these guys their profiles are mostly journalists. They were football journalists, and like they love football and watch a ton of football, and they love football, and they write these reports and find these players using Driblab's internal tools and create these reports that actually look very nice. I remember you showing me one for United that our friend sent you. And the other third part is more about the business development, marketing side of it. I'm the CEO, I lead the whole thing, but I'm most in charge of like business development, coming to places like South Africa, opening, some channels, try to grow the business, and also like the marketing, the image. Like I was invited to a symposium that maybe if it would have been at the same symposium in Mexico where we work with like 10 clubs, I would have said no because I'm busy and I have other stuff to do.
Yeah.
But here, like I want to grow here, so I'll say yes here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For us, Africa is a big market because of...
It's actually a gold mine.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players. Naturally, the continent is gigantic. It's no secret. And a lot of players, I feel like it's a continent that due to the pyramid of football not being very well structured, a lot of players fall through the cracks, and like they never really got anywhere.
Yeah.
And whereas I don't think that happens for example, in Spain. In Spain, up until the Russian World Cup, I think it was the Russian World Cup, only one player in history of Spain has played with the national team without having played in the youth nationality, the youth
Only
teams.
one player.
Nolito was actually.
Oh, okay.
Which that tells you that the system works, right? Yeah. If you're good, the system will identify you at 15, 16, 17, and you will play and then go up. I don't think that's the case in Africa. Particularly in South Africa, I don't know because I don't know that well, but there are certain countries that doesn't work. So if we can help them bridge that gap, I we'll be delighted. I think we can really help. And it's, because it's a gigantic market.
Salva, tell me something then. I'm gonna have two questions quickly. I can't let you go here without telling me about the academy space in Spain. How does the academy space look up there? Like La Masia, for example, what is it like being an academy player at La Masia? And how do kids get into the development space then? Because you've spoken to me about the pro setup, but how do kids get into a Real Madrid academy, a Atletico Madrid academy? How does it look like there, La Masia?
So there are basically two ways to get into academies in Spain. So the Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid or Barcelona academy. One is that you play in your local team, and the scouts of that club identify you and they sign you. And if you live in the city, it will depend on like the deal with your parents, but like then you move into the club's infrastructure. Whereas like they have a school, and then you go to school in the morning and you train in the evening, and like it's kind of like boarding school. It's just football focused, but they also help you like get your studies done, and like because not all the players make it to the first team, right? There's a life after football. The second way, which is the most unlikely way, is that you go to the trials in the summer, and you pass the trials and they sign you for the club. It's very unlikely that you'll get it, particularly at these super level clubs. But yeah, like I was born in a neighborhood in Sevilla called Nervión. Nervión has a very good team, local team. And Sevilla feeds out of that team a lot at 14, 15, 16.
What are the chances?
It's the same neighborhood, really.
An African player. What do the odds look like then for a young South African player, and he's thinking, geez, if I could find myself at La Masia.
Yeah,
in Spain anyway, forget not even the top teams then, anywhere in Spain.
Well, I think you would need to, so the natural or the most common way would be like you play for South Africa under 17s, let's say.
Yeah.
And you play a tournament, and the guy from like Villarreal or Celta de Vigo or Sevilla sees you, and then they talk to your club, they like you, they talk to your club, they come to an agreement with your club in which like they purchase you, but they cannot take you there now with the new regulations until you're 18. So you can train in the summer, but you have to come back, and then eventually when you're 18, you move over for the B team or something like this. It's very unlikely that they will get you at 14 because this whole thing has changed a lot. So for example, Real Madrid bought Hendrik, and they bought Hendrik at 16, but he had to stay until he was 18 at Palmeiras, and now he moved to Madrid. So that's like the natural way. Now, if Hendrik was not as good as he is now, he would have gone to the Real Madrid B team. But Hendrik is an international player from Brazil, so he goes to the B team. That makes sense, right?
Makes sense, man. One more question from me, my man. I just want to understand, maybe you can give us another perspective to this. As South Africans, we tend to shy away from opportunities that would lead us into invest for gain or growth. So I just maybe want to understand from your point of view, more especially in Spain, South African teams, academy teams more especially, they're not so fortunate in terms of financial sponsorships or something like that.
Right, like money outside of the pitch.
Yes. So in terms of them getting the data sets like these and visuals like these, it will cost them money. But is it good value for investment for these teams, for the academy teams more especially, even the teams that are competing at lowest levels?
Well, I think like for the academy of a PSL team, to me it's an investment, and they should make, because it's not that expensive. Now there are European companies that make offers that are ridiculously expensive, particularly with exchange rate. But I think it's an investment that any PSL club can make. The other clubs, I'm not so sure. That to be honest, I don't know. But I'll tell you something. In Spain, the football in Spain was not that competitive until about the mid 2000s. And the reason why, because up until like mid 90s, in Spain, you can only have 3 foreign players. So a lot of Spanish players were playing in the first division just for the mere fact that they were Spanish.
Yes.
Not because they were good. And then that changed with the Bosman rule. And then the foreign definition changed from Spanish to European. So that killed a lot of like the local Spanish players that were not that good. So it was kind of like survival of the fittest. The Spanish players that stayed were good enough to play. And that's when Spain grew a lot. And like we won the 2008 Euro and the World Cup. So it had to do a lot with it. I think one of the things that and this is coming from ignorance because I don't really know and I haven't followed it closely, but I was told that PSL clubs can only have 5 foreigners in the
I
roster.
think that's still the capping.
Yeah, around about that number.
Yeah,
so sure.
but like a guy from Zambia is also a foreigner. So like maybe opening the definition of a foreigner,
Yeah, would be ideal.
because the South African player will be in a more competitive environment, and the South African player will develop more.
Yeah.
Now it's very anti-nationalist to say that because you're saying foreigners are going to take our jobs.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's there's a PR thing that is not great, but the reality is you want to play in AFCON every year and you want to play World Cup every year, right? That's the reality, and you're only going to get that if your local player gets better. So if you cannot invest, which I'm not saying you can't, but if you cannot invest in coaching, in better coaching at the grassroots level, if you cannot invest in facilities, which I think the facilities here are good enough, but if you a natural way to do it is, hey, from now on, 5 foreigners means 5 non-Africans.
Yeah.
And you have to have 8 South Africans and 8 Africans from wherever they are, and 5, and then that will create an environment that the players will be much better.
Last
Not
one then.
today, but in 3-5 years.
Yeah, let's wrap up then, Salva. Time goes by so quickly.
Yeah.
What channels are you setting up in South Africa? Then you mentioned that you're here in South Africa. You don't have a market yet here in South Africa.
Yep.
What are you setting up anything for youngsters maybe to have an opportunity? What's up?
So I came to South Africa. I met with a couple of football agents that represent a few South African players that they've introduced me to a few of the PSL clubs. So it's kind of like a word of mouth situation today. And we're hoping to make some noise, doing this kind of symposium stuff, coming to do some media. And it's basically, I cannot tell you what step 2 will be, but we are very much in step 1. So I don't know how step 2 will look like, where right now it's at the beginning of the pipeline, and hopefully we can like establish some sort of partnership, local partnership here, whether that is with an academy, a media outlet, or something like that they can like put content out and have like some sort of like ongoing relationship. Because if you just do it 1 week a year, it's really not gonna work out. You need to be more constant. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. But like I said, we're at the very beginning.
Yeah, no, Coscarinho said it in episode 1. What Cosca said was we're bringing the Ballon d'Or to South Africa. We've had Carmona come through from Spain and Madrid, the Driblab, and give us some of the insights that they look forward to. I'm sure the Ballon d'Or is on its way. And I promise you, we said it, when it comes, we're putting it on that table here. But Salva, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's been a good time. Coach, now they know you are from Rio.
No, definitely I'm from Rio, but definitely we getting that Ballon d'Or.
No, guys, let's take it back now to the rest of the team and hear what they have to say about the potential overseas opportunities.
So there you have had it. We always keep it fresh and different and exciting on Football on 216 and Salvador Carmona. Guys, sifiso manje ngishayila Spanish nyana ndo tufundeni da.
Yeah, ngifuna ukuthi hola.
3 letters.
Director ma.
Yeah, guys, let's just quickly reflect on Salvador Carmona. Firstly, he speaks about the foreign policy in Spain, right? So they only allowed 3 foreign players in the Spanish team. So it becomes a little bit difficult to go to in that 3. There's South Americans, there's English people who are foreigners. South African just makes it slightly difficult.
Ene dile khatsa go ntle wena mjikso di level sentle go Europe, bo Spain, bo EPL, mara bua ka Spain gone ano. A re go na re itse gore go diragala rena ke mo gae fela ba ile gore e tsong mo gae ke 5 a kere ye dumeletswe. So ka kwa ke 3 ne ke sa itse. Ke gone ke utlwang gompieno gore ai man ke di mahlo ba tsamika le ba ba tlhaga go ntle ene gantsi ba tlhaga ba tsamika ba tlhaga go ntle re le nne a re ne le nnete ke bone ba ile gore ba dominate go ntle kwa ka jalo go bona gore ba ba raronyana fela mo setlhopheng tsa lake le nna go mmaka ditse too much.
Mina I think bafethu ifair yona kancane lento leyo because sisadevelop and sizame ukudevelopa ama players odlala ku national team, so yikho mina sidevelop ama players ekhaya kuqala, so ilento bengisho mfethu I think ifair.
Yeah, I think dina ke nagana gore nna fe ka gore o tlo feletsa ona le batshameki ba le bantsi o nna le phulwentse e leng gore o tshwantse o select ko yona. Gape ke nagana gore le di-African countries tse di buang Spanish ke bona batshameki ba teng ba ileng gore ba kgona go ya ka kontle ka ko Spain ba kgona ba ska sokola ga ba fitlha ka cause le language barrier gape ga o le motshameki o montle o fitlha ko Spain ga o tsena kwa so sa ntlha e nna language barrier o thoma pele ka gore tshwanetse o ithute puo le ga o tshameka sentle gona yaanong eo e kgoreletsa go se go nene gore o utlwe ditaelo tsa mokatitsi gore a re.
And then he speaks a bit about if you want to get onto that international setup into the Spanish teams, kokuqala you have to play in the national team. Ngathi kunzimanyana ndoda ukungena ngada.
So into engibonile mfethu ngathi kuthe kuba nzima ngoba ukhulume nanokuthi kumele ube mncane ukuze ungene laphana. So ngithe mayisho kanjalo ngabona ukuthi ayikho enye ishow abezoza kuyo entswempu futhi ene target market njengoba abantu abancane yithi la ku GDL. So abantwana sebezowazi manje ukuthi yabo manje mina ngabe sesiyaqala sebadedela borele manje bese sebancane because no sofuna ukubadedela mhlawumbe sebelingana nomshishi and ushilo wathi at least masesemncane kubetter laphana ukuthi ungangena la.
ene gape wena ntsala ke kutlwa bua ka bonnye ba bone wena mjix ha o lebela sentle rona ka kwa re mothana le 1920 ra ro monnye ka kwa na le 1920 o senior player so ka jalo rona ka kwano o bua nnete Sfiso kutle gore a re ba tlogele ba tsama ba le banyane man ha bana le bo ma 14 15 a ba tsamaya ba ya kontle kana go thata go tsena mjix tshwanetse o tshameka le national team wa bona gona no go bokete Sfiso na mpotsa maloba gore do you think batho ba ba tlhophile go tlhopetsa naga botlhe ba good enough na ke re gona le motshameki ba le gore ba kgethiwa ba le gore ba itse so go nna thata go tsena so I think ntsala ke ka mogwa e beileng ka tshwanetse re tlhaloswa dikosi tsa rona ba
makawana tshwanetse ba goletse dikosi Salvador o tswa Seville o na lefa gona nong o awe ka football on 216 o awe ka super sports school sep you can strip anywhere in the world ntho gora gore ga tsena kwa o ta ba re ke bone sengwe se se kgatlhisang a re lebelleng a phasalatse le ditsala tsa gagwe di go dinageng tse di makawana ba GDL banna goletsa dikosi.
Yeah, we've got a new target market. But for Sfiso, siya flyer soon boy siya ngada yang thola siya flyer yang kailan
abari itini panoy la
So it's Sevilla Development League.
Anyway, guys, Sevilla Development League. With our development football in the country, we continue this weekend and starting off with some of the school fixtures. Parktown boys will play up against St. Albans at home. Now, I'm interested to see how that Parktown team looks after losing in the quarters, especially in the 14 game. They welcome St. Albans, guys.
Parktown ya ka o buang tsela ke ne ba hostile tournament e leng ya bona gone yanong ka mantswe a mang he ba tsena motshamekong ba utlwile botlhoko ba ntsheditswe konte go quarter finaleng ba ka se batle go latlhegelwa gape ntsela so ke akanya gore motshameko tle go nna bona ka go ne le maitemogelo ntsela ka o tshameka tournament tse dintsi o na le experience e ntsi ka jalo nna ke na bone Parktown
iParktown iluze kuma penalty so ine chance eningi kakhulu kule game lena mina ngibona angazi ngizongitshela next week but ngibona iParktown kuyiyena chance eningi lo mdlalo
wa bona gape ga go nna yalo lona nka etsa ka reverse khanya le bza gore bana le tunents ga o ntse o tlhagella ka magetlo o advance di team di nna awe ka wena di a go planne
gona go planne
so go ka nna gore ya ba ka ba kgaolela sport gape ka gore ba itse Brian.
So in terms of other fixtures then St. David's will welcome losing finalists JP High School for boys at their home ground, and then the Discovery League also continues. So, yakumula shay Discovery Alex boy.
Oh yeah,
boy Discovery.
Abasike futhi.
But I think we'll only get to commentate that by the time it gets to the finals and stuff. So the Discovery League also continues, and notafuneka say that Alex futhi.
Out shout out to friend angazi noma ngizothi friend of the show ngizothi selula mark ngibonile nayo ukuthi bamfakile ku Discovery. So bafethu shout out kuyena mfethu. So siyajabula khona amaliga kanjena sayenza thina mfethu bekhona neGDL zaseKasi into engijabulisayo bekhona neGDL zaseKasi ilapho kwazi kubona khona ukuthi between iKasi neSabak ubani osinika lento
masishiye lapha. And then guys we move over to Zululand KZN. We will have the Sky Tents Champions League. Now that's a men's tournament, but what's groundbreaking about it, it's an all-female super sports schools production crew. Magumnandi. And then back to the Gauteng Development League. Then our broadcast fixture on Sunday heads to the West Panorama, where we will have Kaizer Chiefs that travel there to try to do the business in round 28. Guys, let's quickly tatamula those before we get out of studio.
I want to get tikinya tlhogo ke shebile le gantsa like Kaizer Chiefs go godimo Mamelodi Sundowns go fatse Panorama maemo a borataro Chiefs ha ba tswela pele ba gapa Sundowns mo raga bone ntsa like Sundowns na le a match in hand ka jalo ke bona ka under 13 bona le ge ya go decide on the last day go ka mo go ke bonang ka teng ka gone Kaizer Chiefs a ke bone gore Panorama go ba distepa thata ba ka go ya Panorama ke gane mara Kaizer Chiefs ntse la ke e tla ipukile ka mantswe a mang I'm not saying gore ba tlo go gapa fela chances tsa gore ba gape di go godimo thata
ga ntse o le fela fo letlakasi ya ka ke re wa itse ke ka lebza so se buang gape ka le mo under 15 ke lebella le ga ya under 15 go ntse fela ya Mamelodi Sundowns ina le motshameko mo satle Kaizer Chiefs ba tsama go tlasa bone ke mo under 15 le bone go ra gore go na le pants phezulu fo go ra gore le it's going down to the wire under 15 Mamelodi Sundowns le yona Kaizer Chiefs ga o lebella Panorama ko under 15 ba ntse ko maemong a basoma le bobedi o ka re fela ba ka ya kwa ba ile go senya moletlo wa Kaizer Chiefs gona sepezentsia
masibheka lapha kakhulukazi mina ngiyakuma under 17 womabili ama-team awenza i-grand under 17 but at least Kaizer Chiefs ikhona laphana ku-top 8 because ihleli lapha ku-number 7 Panorama ihleli ku-number 16 so asazi lana nje akusiyo ngokuthi ileague kumele decide lana ukuthi omunye adla omunye akhuphuka angene ku-top 8 silindele lokho kuphela but abenzi kahle and into exakayo kakhulu mhlambe ezojabulisa iChiefs ukuthi ngibonile ama-under 17 abuyile hlangana namakasa ayafana ngithi sedlala ku-Sundowns but kusho khona ukuthi ama-under 17 abuyile so uMkokosi bazobe khona kuleyo game so amathuba ke nabo bazoba nawo lapho beyiwina.
And then Chiefs are in a bit of a title race then in the under-19 division. In fact, under-13s and under-19 divisions are going to right down to the wire. I think they're level on points with Highlands Park. We've got to see as to whether they can make it out of the West alive. But that is that. Shwentekile, like Lebza likes to say, the episode is into the books. We thank our guest, especially from Sevilla, Salvador Carmona, for flying through just to come to the show. I told you guys Coscarinho was from Rio de Janeiro. You didn't believe me. Now I hope you do believe me. And then to him, Coscarinho, hopefully he can bring us another guest in the near future that's from South America. But Development League experts, guys, thank you. We'll be again doing it, Yabo. And then I want to take you to a school games, so soon, I'm going to take you soon, Yabo. Ngibonise masabab sin sawa
ngibangene but into engayisho mina bafethu hola
to clean. That is how it ends then here. So until next time, guys, it's Kating.
Ayakanza lelikuwa kwelienu lalela
Sacha Tsefo, what a